Hey, everybody, welcome to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Please make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. It's time to talk Bills and Bucs, and we're thrilled to have with us from ABC Action News in Tampa, Kyle Berger. Kyle, thanks for being with us.
Oh, no problem. Anytime.
Let's talk about this game coming up. First of all, let me ask you this. You're sitting in Tampa, you're watching this team and how they're performing, and you see the Bills in the Monday night game against New England. What do you think the thoughts are of the Bucs after seeing that game on Monday night and seeing the way? Because I don't think we're going to see that game plan on Monday night out of Tampa Bay.
Well, first, I'm happy for you guys who get to leave that weather and come down here where it's 85 degrees. First, that's
That's
the
a
first
plus.
thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not going to see anything like what we saw on Monday night. They're going to throw the ball more than 3 times. The Bucs will. I mean, the Bucs and Brady threw the ball 51 times last game against the Atlanta Falcons. And with the Bucs, they really take what you give them. Brady's throwing the ball more times than anyone in the league, and that line's given up the least amount of sacks, only 15 sacks this year. So they can beat you that way. If they shut down your pass game, they can run the ball. The previous 2 games before that Falcons game, when Brady threw 13 passes straight to start the game, they were running the ball with Leonard Fournette. So he had 4 touchdowns the previous game. So it's kind of pick your poison with this Bucs team. The receivers, I mean, you got Godwin, who scored 15 catches this last game. Gronk, Mike Evans. It's kind of an abundance of talent on offense. They can beat you anyway, and it's not going to be anything like that Patriots game. We'll have more excitement on offense, that's for sure, in this one.
Well, all right. So you've depressed Bills fans already and what they're facing, especially that multi-dimensional offense, which is something the Bills have certainly struggled to do in terms of running the ball. And now defensively coming into this game without Trey White, their top corner. Before we get more into what the Bucs are doing this year, take us back to last year, what it was like to see that team. People forget where they were at about, maybe a little bit before this time, where they were not playing like the team we ended up seeing winning the Super Bowl. And then they got on a roll. What was it like when they started to figure it out, even though it was a little bit later in the year?
I think it was kind of like what you guys are feeling right now. Like, man, what is going on with this team at that time? At the bye week for the Bucs, they were 7-5. Everyone thought with Brady coming in here, they'd be world beaters. I mean, you're not supposed to be 7-5 with Tom Brady as your quarterback. And once that bye week hit, they really turned it on. 8 wins in a row from that point on. They started doing more of what Tom Brady is comfortable with, more of the quick passing game. The occasional shot downfield. So it all started clicking after the bye week, and that's kind of what we've seen from the Bucs this year. Yeah, they're 9-3. They had the bye week. They kind of didn't really play so well against Washington, but they're on a 3-game winning streak now, and that kind of coincides with Gronk coming back since that winning streak with him back in the starting lineup. But it's just they find that extra step once November, December hits with Tom Brady at quarterback. And he's been like that for his whole career. You guys well know once December hits, Brady is nearly unbeatable when he has a playoff contending team.
Yeah, they've seen it a lot. But what we also saw here, and you would have naturally, like anybody watching, would have seen it from afar, the way Tom Brady was in Foxborough, seemed to be a little more buttoned up, a little less giving of his opinions and his just his personality. Since he's been in Tampa, what you guys see is not really what we saw when we were watching Brady all these years in Foxborough. What's it like? I mean, I know as a reporter, the way you're around these players, you're in news conferences, you see them on the field, but it's different. But he does seem to have lightened up a bit since he got in the warm weather.
No, absolutely. I mean, everyone saw the moment when he threw the trophy across the Hillsborough River. I mean, that's the moment that kind of sums up Brady living in Tampa Bay. I mean, he's going to news conferences in sandals. He's gone barefoot. I mean, he's in shorts. It seems like that cold weather and the Belichick factor really it checks you down a notch. I mean, Bruce Arians is the ultimate players coach. You see that in the players. You see that in Tom Brady. He's so big on social media now, cracking jokes. They do a segment the Buccaneers do, Tommy and Gronky show, which Gronk and Tom, this slinging one-liners back and forth at each other. So it's really loosened him up. I'm not sure if that's helping his play or not, but it's definitely it's a boost. It seems like a boost in the locker room. It's a boost with these players. They all love playing with him. They love playing for him. I'm sure that it was the same thing with the Patriots, but you just didn't see this side of Tom Brady when you're up there in New England.
I want to get to Gronk in a second, but on Brady, I don't want any Bills fans to hear this, uh, but they kind of like Brady now. Not like him. He doesn't annoy them. I mean, he destroyed seasons year to year.
They like that he's not there anymore, I guess.
Yes, but even like now they can. I think it's a little easier as a people around the Bills to appreciate how great Brady has been when he's in Tampa. Like, I mean, like there were people, here rooting for them to win the Super Bowl, right? I mean, they don't like the Chiefs. The Chiefs had ended the Bills season. It's just very different. And that's one thing I think to see his personality is late in his career. I guess we thought that might have been 10 years ago, come out. But he could still win the MVP this year. We're not talking about a guy who's not performing.
Yeah, he was 32-3 against the Bills in his career. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's it.
No, but the biggest thing with this team and Brady's success is, like I mentioned before, he's not getting touched. He doesn't get hit. Maybe one time in the Washington game he got hit, and then he was a super check down city after that. But the line has had the same 5 starters for 11 of the 12 games this season. So that's huge to have the protection. He's getting the ball out quick. In the Falcons game, I mean, his quick passes with him. I think his longest pass is only 8 yards in the first 13 passes of the game. So he's not holding on to the ball. I mean, it's super quick, and when he does get time, he's got those receivers with Evans and Godwin who get open. So I mean, that's a key to his longevity. Besides the avocados and whatever else he's doing, is that offensive line that's keeping him super clean back in the pocket.
Yeah, as someone who's seen him since he started his career, it annoys me to no end that he seems to get younger as I get older, or all of us get older. He just seems that way. Now, let's transition to Gronk because Gronk's a Buffalo guy. That was always an interesting thing. He's from Buffalo, but all those years playing for the Patriots, lovable Gronk. His personality hasn't really changed. He's just in the warmer weather. But, he looked like he was done a couple of years ago with all of his injuries. What do you think? I mean, he's back again. He had the 2 touchdowns. He doesn't seem like he's ready to bail at any time soon.
No, Gronk was not supposed to be this good. I mean, we did not expect this from Rob Gronkowski. You mentioned all the trouble he's had in the past. He took a year off. And then even this year, it was in the Rams game, he fractured several ribs, punctured his lung. He missed a couple games from that. Tried to come back in the Halloween game against the New Orleans Saints. But only played maybe the first quarter, had back spasms, was out again. And he comes back, and they came back at the perfect time because that's when they lost to Washington football team. When Gronk comes back, they're now on a 3-game winning streak, 2 touchdowns last game. He opens up everything in the middle of the field for Tom Brady. It's not even when you see him catching passes. He's a great pass block protector. He works in the run game so well. Everything seems to click whenever Gronk's in there, and it's been huge since Antonio Brown. That's a whole different story. Since he's been out, having Gronk back in there as a third receiving option is just opens up everything for this Bucs offense. And we should see another big game from Gronk, especially facing a hometown team for this Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's had a lot against the Bills. I want to talk about Bruce Arians. It's one of the most interesting guys in the league. And, he gets his Super Bowl last year. And I want to know how you've seen him handle the win. I mean, because, it's happened a lot of times where, unless it's Belichick, a team wins and then it can go south because everybody celebrates and you don't get back to business. Now, he's not known as Mr. Buttoned Up, but how has he been this year dealing with everything you deal with coming off a championship?
Oh, Bruce has been he's the same guy. I mean, he's like I mentioned, he is the ultimate players coach. He lets them have their fun, but then the players know, and it also helps that he has so many veterans in this locker room that can help kind of set the example and lead the way from Brady to Gronk, all these guys that have been there before, even Mike Evans. But Arians, nothing's changed. It's it helps that he has all 22 starters back from last year's Super Bowl team, so they know what to do. They all have the chip on their shoulder, knowing that last year they played without fans in the stands in the playoffs. They have the chip on their shoulder that they want to come back and prove that wasn't just that. Like when they went to Green Bay last year in the playoffs, it was a different atmosphere because you didn't have that extra motivation from the fans in the stands. But Arians has been the same guy. He's the same guy who just throws back a couple of drinks and lights up a cigar after every win.
Yeah, he's been that guy, and it's worked for him, and now he's got the ring, and he's looking for another one. So when you have seen this team, obviously, we've seen them at their best. We've seen them at times when they've struggled, even in, say, Foxborough, going back, to play against the Patriots, and that game was so close, and the opening game. For Bills fans watching this, and this is going to be a relatively desperate Bills team coming off this loss, when is it that this team isn't at its best? When is it that they look vulnerable? You mentioned that Washington game. I know Gronk didn't play at that, but what are the things that sort of derail this offense, at least to make it manageable for a team to beat them?
Well, it's just putting pressure on Tom Brady. No quarterback likes guys in your face. And that's what the key was in the Washington game when they lost that game. Brady got hit in the first quarter by Jonathan Allen. He wasn't the same since. So that really derailed the offense, making Brady kind of a little skittish. He already has the mobility of a palm tree in the pocket. So you hit him, it just throws his whole game off. He doesn't want to get hurt again like he did several years ago and missed the whole season. So he knows that's in the back of his mind, but he has the clean pocket. He'll be just fine. The biggest concern, I think, for the Bucs will be on defense. I mean, a couple games ago, they were playing their seventh string cornerback. They've had so many injuries on defense. So for the Bucs, I think Josh Allen is really the key because he is their whole offense, basically, with the running game and the passing game. And with a beat-up Bucs secondary, he could feast back there. And another thing is Mike Edwards was one of the other guys suspended for misrepresenting his vaccination status. He won't be in there. So they're missing another safety. And Richard Sherman might return this week, but not at cornerback. Arians said he might try Richard Sherman at safety just to give a little more depth back there in the secondary. So the Bucs, I mean, they got Carlton Davis back for the first time last week. He missed several games with a calf injury. Sean Murphy-Bunting finally returned a couple weeks ago. He's been out since week 1 with a shoulder injury. So they're slowly getting healthy, but they're still very thin in the secondary.
So talk to me about their defensive line, really the front seven, and how they disrupt game plans. I mean, everybody watching the Bucs saw what they did to Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Tell me about the front seven and what makes them so good when they're effective.
Well, they get after the quarterback like no other team. I mean, Jason Pierre-Paul, he hasn't been himself lately. He's kind of he's not stopping the run. He's not really affecting the quarterback. So it's not him like it has in the past. But the biggest playmaker is Vita Vea. He is a guy that he gets double teamed, and it opens up lanes for the linebackers like Shaq Barrett or the rookie Joe Tryon to come back and come straight through the middle and get the sacks. I mean, Vita Vea is so disruptive. He is the biggest heart and soul of this defense. And you don't have to send any extra rushers because Vita takes up so much space in there. And then you have the veterans like Ndamukong Suh who comes after the quarterback. I mean, the line is just so good. That's the I guess that's really the heart and soul of that defense, is that line, which has really helped cover up some of the lacking in the secondary for this team.
Yeah, you really see it. It's what's been missing with the Bills is that presence on the defensive line that takes up the blockers, it helps certainly in the run game, frees up the linebackers. Certainly, we saw that on Monday night. Star Lotulelei there for the Bills, just coming back from COVID and not being as effective as what you really need here. I got to ask you about this because in Western New York, where we are, baseball-wise, it's a lot of Yankee fans. It's a huge hockey area, and Sabres have been terrible. And of course, they love their football with the Bills. That's why they hate everybody in Tampa now. You guys have just won way too much. I mean, what has it been like? You got the Lightning winning. You've got the Rays winning. You've got the Bucs with a Super Bowl. What's it been like to be there in a town where, like yourself, people move to Tampa, they come in, and you get all this winning going on?
Well, I'll tell you this. I moved here in February of 2020. I came from Birmingham, so I got here a month before Brady did. So I like to say Brady and Gronk followed me here, and then that's when the winning happened. So I didn't really know the losing since I've been here. It's all been winning, so it's been unreal. I mean, they now have the name Champa Bay since we have all
Oh,
these champions. Um,
yeah.
we've had photo shoots. I think last year we had photo shoots with all the trophies: the American League Championship, the Stanley Cup, the Lombardi. I mean, they're like on the river. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, these people are so happy because they had never experienced this ever. I mean, this has been a losing town for so long until these last couple of years. So it's like all of the athletes are on board with the other teams. You go to Lightning games, you see the Bucs line chugging beers. You see Tyler Glass now taking in Rays games and or Lightning games. I mean, they're all kind of embracing each other. We even have a soccer team in the USL. They played in the championship game as well, and they fell a
Of course they
couple
did.
goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, they fell a couple goals short, but they were in the championship game as well. So it kind of all trickles down to every sport we have here in Tampa.
Last thing, Bill's Mafia travels. I've seen him in New Orleans. I've seen him in Jacksonville. I've seen him in Jersey, Nashville, everywhere that they go. So tell them they're coming down for a couple of days. What's it going to be like in Tampa this weekend?
About 80, 85 degrees. The Floridians, we won't go to the beach because water's probably 65. You guys will probably like that. I mean, you guys do the polar plunge thing. So the Floridians will stay away from the beach. You guys can have all the beach you want. Other than that, I mean, the weather's great. We have palm trees everywhere. The sunset will be beautiful for the 420 game. But yeah, it's going to be a nice time out here in Tampa for you guys.
Well, we'll appreciate the hospitality. The Bills will hope to try to spoil that on Sunday. They need a win in the worst way. We'll see what happens when they play against the Bucs in what is a big game, certainly for both teams, as the Bucs are fighting for that one seed in the division title, and the Bills are fighting to get themselves back in it. Kyle, thanks very much. Let everybody know where they can follow you, especially on social media for Bills fans.
Yeah, I'm here on ABC Action News in Tampa. You can find me on Twitter at Kyle_Berger, on Facebook at Kyle Berger TV. And yeah, the ABC Action News. Find all
All
of our
right.
content.
Well, we will see as we're down there in Tampa. We appreciate all your time and great insight on the Bills and the Bucs.